Hello, I'm Larah Davis from Ibiza Retreats, and it is with huge pleasure that we welcome back to Ibiza the Energy Master, Hawaiian Kahuna, amongst many accolades, and founder of Integrative Quantum Medicine. At Ibiza Retreats, we work holistically, and within IQM, or Integrative Quantum Medicine, you, Louise, have embodied holistic wellness and created a bridge between classical medicine, energy medicine, leading edge thought, and more, but in a really simple, practical way that even those of us that are new to this world can use in our daily lives to heal, to transform, to empower ourselves and each other. How did you do it?
I think I have been looking for the magic my whole life. I didn't realize it was going to culminate in a healing modality, but looking for the magic meant that what you see is not all you get. I think many kids grow up wanting to be a superhero, and it wasn't the hero part, it's the super part I wanted. I wanted that special sauce.
Yes.
And I sought it until actually I found it way down the line. But through the course of doing this, bits and pieces of incredible knowledge was bestowed upon me after taking all of these different forms of martial arts and studies of philosophy and understanding that healing and anatomy and the body and everything had to do with a complete passage as a human being on the planet. And finally, it came together in this way. Understanding the idea of empowerment, I think, was the big key. And I was the little kid in the class, so I'm always the small one. I skipped a grade, so I was always the youngest, and I never really knew what was going on. I always felt like the one who had a bit of a catching up to do. And I knew that because of that, I wanted to feel as powerful as everybody else. I wanted at least to feel a little bit of self-confidence.
Yes.
So, cut to decades later, the quest then became for everybody to have that feeling of empowerment, that feeling of I can take care of myself, sovereignty, some sense of not feeling lost and wondering, who do I go to? Yes. Who do I seek? It's in you, it's in me, it's in everybody. And if we could find that key, the idea of sovereignty will render us in solidarity with our brothers and sisters, and then there's no competition.
And the other thing which I feel is so vital, and we have so many clients coming to us looking for answers. They've been to this doctor, that doctor, this specialist. It could have started with a pain in the neck, and then it moved to problems in a particular organ. They're with adrenal fatigue, kidney exhaustion.
Yes.
Many of these different presentations of different issues which come from stress.
Absolutely.
And we draw it back all the time to the fact that if it's something feels like a stress, then it's not going to be good for you.
Yeah.
But there has to be a sense of, like you say, sovereignty or responsibility.
Yes.
And so can you tell us about IQM and why it's quantum and how you're using it around the world to help World Health Organization, amongst others, take responsibility or offer this responsibility for people, for different leaderships, for different organizations, and also to help heal the planet?
Absolutely, absolutely. Living in Hawaii, where my parents are from, I've lived there twice in a long span of time, over a decade, and understanding the culture of Hawaii is married to the idea of responsibility for the land. If you don't take care of the land cannot take care of you. So it isn't about ownership as much as caretaking.
Yes.
And with that reverence and with that respect of the land, we understand the communion that we have. So in looking at the big picture, we are children of Mother Earth. Yes. We are tenders of a great responsibility. And we're looking at the way we have abused this and how kind Mother Earth has been to us, but you can see now what transformations are going on. We see the temperatures rising, the tides rising, things really, really making themselves very evident that something is awry. Well, we are the microcosm of this macrocosm. So when we are not well, when we are stressed, and stressors can be emotional or mental or psychic or spiritual, we will manifest this in the physical. And by that manifestation, often that's the only way we have this awareness. So understanding.
Can I just ask you, when you talk about manifesting the physical,
Yes.
like, do you mean physical pain
Yes.
and discomfort?
Yes, and dis-ease.
And dis-ease.
Exactly. So, we can stomach an uncomfortable, stressful situation for only so long, and then pretty soon our stomach is going to respond. We'll have digestive issues. We'll have irritable bowel syndrome. We'll have tumors, ulcers. We will no longer be able to stomach it. I mean, our bodies are direct representations of the metaphoric, metaphysical lesson that we need to grasp. It says it to us, when our shoulders are tight and we're unable to relax. Well, perhaps we're carrying too many burdens. Yes. Perhaps we're wearing our shoulders as earrings because we need to find out, oh my gosh, what is it that is causing this? That doesn't happen by itself. So in looking at the way we can, and as you say, we're often asking somebody else about our health and our wellness, and I go to a specialist, and then I go to the next person, and everybody has a different answer for you. And somehow, well, they're doing their job, because based upon your symptoms, they have to come up with a reasonable conclusion. If it ticks all these boxes, you must have this disease or you must have this ailment. And how do we treat it? We treat the symptom. We're going to do something for your pain so you don't feel the pain. We'll do something so that you can digest your food. But we're not actually getting to that stressor that caused it. Yes. So that doesn't mean quit your job or get rid of the husband or, get rid of your children or so. You can't exactly do that. But is there a way to balance it? Is there a way to manage the energy that is stressed by these situations? And absolutely. Often we cannot change a set of circumstances, but we can change how we respond to it. Yes, we can change the energy that we have that is now blocking up and building and building and building until we implode. We can transform that. And by taking a look at energy in a completely different way, and this is the quantum piece. Okay. It isn't woo-woo. Well, you know what? Quantum physics has to be the most woo-woo thing on Earth or off Earth. We think that what you see is what you get. Our energy is 90% of our makeup. The physicality of the world is less than 10%. So if you look at it that way, all the mass of the universe that we can identify with, all the trees and the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, this only comprises, well, it's even less than 10% of the mass of the universe. So where's the other 90%? It's invisible. Yeah. It's these energetic particles that are so small that they literally pass through us. 10,000 neutrinos go through you every second. And what's a neutrino? It's an itty bitty tiny teeny weeny weeny particle that we cannot see with the naked eye. 1 million weakly interactive massive particles. Quantum physicists are jokers, wimps, right? 1 million wimps go through a thumbnail portion of you every second. So you and I are sitting here and we actually have this exchange of energy flowing through us. And because we're harmonious, because we're probably on the same frequency, we're enjoying this exchange. But I'm sure you've had that experience. Sometimes you walk by somebody and you shudder and you go, oh my God, what was that? That was kind of weird and creepy. We feel each other. We are merging with each other continuously. So the quantum piece is the wild aspect. It's that wild card that, how can it be a wild card when it's the majority? Yes. So if we can understand that or grasp it or be part of it, we can never master it, so to speak, or conquer it, but if we get it and we know how to work with it and utilize it, we're golden.
You've created Integrative Quantum Medicine as a toolkit to root cause diagnose and offer healing, often instantaneous healing solutions for mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, macrocosmic, microcosmic, woo-woo, and very practical, very real, tangible pain.
Yes, yes.
Of every level.
Yes.
And I've seen this and I felt it and I've worked with it. So you've been working globally with this, and it's like I see you on this global peace mission to empower people to use this. Can you tell us about your experience with the World Economic Forum?
That was wonderful. When the World Economic Forum invited me to present in a way that it could be tangible and accessible to their audience, which is less than 1% of the global population. So you're dealing with presidents of countries, CEOs only. So this is a movers and shakers of the planet who are from every walk, from every religion, from every nation, but able to take this opportunity at the World Economic Forum to make some huge decisions and bring this to the world, where issues of the world are being addressed. For them to invite me was extraordinary. The broad thinking of understanding what energy might benefit the people of the globe with a completely different way of looking at it. So I designed a program called The Art of Stress Management specifically for them, because they don't have time for the yoga class, they don't have time to meditate, they don't have time to run. I mean, their idea of meditation is close one eye at the red light, and then they're good. The light changes and okay, we're going. So I created something for these amazing, busy, insane, stress to the max people to be able to do on the spot, in a meeting, while traveling, at the airport. And it was hugely attended. It was, we had a maximum and we exceeded the maximum. And from there, these CEOs then brought me into their corporations to present the work to their employees. Klaus Schwab had me come into the forum and work at the headquarters twice and present the Art of Stress Management to his employees, which was a statement of great confidence in understanding that stress is such an incredible killer. And that is the cause of all ailments, all illness, all disease. You don't get sick by yourself. It's not easy to. But what the body and the mind is capable of dealing with and holding on for dear life before it actually addresses it, before it manifests into something that you can't ignore. We're incredible beings. So it was a great privilege to be able to present there at the World Economic Forum. And
of course, then the trickle down and the trickle outwards effect is phenomenal.
Absolutely. British Petroleum, DuPont, to be able to be a keynote speaker at one of these straight business organizations where they think you're going to come in and you're going to talk about employee relationships with their clients or this, that. And I'm coming in and I'm showing them some magic. I'm showing them these techniques that I have honed through years of martial arts and giving it to them in 5 minutes, as opposed to you have to study with your master for 30 years before you learn this one. No, we're gonna get it right now. And these are invaluable techniques that you can use anywhere. I mean, kids can use it, adults can use it. These techniques are things that you're going to be able to center yourself with, be strong, be able to deal with the normal stressors of the day, and all of a sudden you're okay. You're not getting overrun by whatever circumstances you're facing.
Well, we hope that in another video you're going to be showing a little bit about the art of stress management.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Indeed.
And so from there to teams of doctors in Cuba, for example.
That was amazing.
Because as you've talked about, all these different specialists are dealing with localized issues.
Yes.
And so people are going from one person to another, and they're all expert in their areas, but they're not looking at the whole being.
Absolutely.
And so how did you get drafted into Cuba?
Well, you know, I think upper management, truly, you know, I mean, I think I'm on a guided tour, basically. So, you know, upper management puts me in places where I can be of service, honestly. And through, long story short, connections to this person, to that person, I was introduced to this hospital in Cuba where a doctor allowed me to do a little bit of a demonstration because I wanted to bring this work to Cuba where education and healthcare is free. So everybody's got a triple doctorate. They understand, you know, so many different fields of medicine, but they did not have resources such as antibiotics but they also didn't have pesticides and fertilizers that can pollute the system anyway that you'd have to go to the doctor to get rid of. But they didn't have a lot of the resources that we would have in the other first world countries and access to that kind of medicine. So their ability to perhaps understand, diagnose an ailment could not be reliant upon a prescription to something. When I was able to introduce this work to them, and it was showing a little demonstration to one doctor who was the head of her own hospital and her secretary, and they were like, who is this American and what is she going to show us? Yeah, go ahead, go do your thing. And I did. I showed them a demonstration on the spot where I was able to alleviate the pain of her assistant, who was blown away by the efficacy of the work right then and there, immediate. And she said, okay, that's it. We're arranging something. Will you teach us? And she arranged a seminar for 75 doctors who soaked this in because they understand. They are so spiritually profound. They are so tuned into the energy of the universe, and they were medically trained. So their receptivity and enthusiasm for the work was fantastic. And they used it as soon as they got it. They didn't put it on the shelf, and they were able to incorporate it because they didn't need other stuff. They didn't need herbs or medicines or needles or anything else. They just needed their mind. They just needed their personal abilities right then and there. And it was just brilliant. It was brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah, I so enjoyed it. It was such a blessing.
And so more and more doctors we see coming on retreat with us in Ibiza, for example, because they want to explore the holistic model, the way that the mind is connected to the breath, the energy, the body, how it all fits together. So we're going to keep referring them over to you.
Oh, fantastic.
Keep referring them over to you.
Fantastic.
But you also did some doctoring work on the earth in Christchurch.
Yes.
In New Zealand.
Yes.
At the crux of the earthquake.
I did. And it was at the request of a woman who is considered a tohunga, Dr. Rose Rangimari Pere, and she is highly respected among the Maori and the Tuhoi people of New Zealand, as well as the educators, as well as everyone in New Zealand. They all know who she is. She put in a request through the chains of connections to have me come down to Christchurch and heal the land at the epicenter. And it was one of those things, I didn't really know who she was, but for some reason when she said, go down there and do it, I said, okay. Okay, I could feel that it was an honor to have been requested by her and to do something for as incredible a situation as the devastation that occurred in Christchurch. 80% of the population left Christchurch. 80% of the land was destroyed, the buildings, etc. So to be there, I was it felt like a desert town at first. It was a little bit spooky because there was so much destruction. It was amazing. I went to the epicenter. I was taken there by a young lady who I didn't know. And again, it was an upper management trip where someone told someone to come get me, and I was like, okay, and I'm getting into a car with somebody I don't know, and I knew in here that it was all safe, it was all good, and I was meant to do this. I had my kihei on, my Hawaiian cloak of representing that you are a person of the spiritual journey. And I stood at this place and I spread my arms and I started to chant. And across this epicenter, across this somewhat of a cavern, there were 3 cormorant birds who have white bodies and black wings. And they're pretty large, almost the size of hers. And 3 of them spread their wings like this as I'm chanting. And I'm chanting like this, and I'm going, oh my God, what's that? And as I finished my chant, the 3 of them put their wings down, turned, and bowed. So I put my wings down, and I turned and bowed. And this huge white bird went right over my head.
Wow.
And it was such an affirmation that we are all connected. It was extraordinary. And again, these kinds of affirmations from the earth to the people, to the doctors, to the corporate, I mean, every walk of life, we are all connected. We are all connected. So my journey is endless. It is endless, and the joy I feel and the honor I feel, I mean, it humbles me. It humbles me to think that I'm allowed a peek into the vast magic that the universe has to offer us, and to be able to share it. Oh my gosh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you for coming to Ibiza.